What's up everybody, my name is Brandon and welcome back to another Eskate review. Today we're going to be reviewing the Slick Revolution Foamies. The Foamies by Slick Revolution are 120mm wheels that basically fit on any pulley that attaches the ABEC core. So Slick Revolution was cool enough to send me a pair as well as a boosted conversion kit because stock boosted boards can't install the Foamies, but with the kit it's able to. So first I'm going to tell you what's kind of in the box and what you'll really need if you're putting on a boosted board or maybe even other boards. So with the Slick Revolution box, which is right here, the Foamies box, what you'll find in there are the actual wheels, and each wheel has 2 bearings already pre-installed. It comes with spacers for when you're installing it, as well as belt covers. The thing with these belt covers though is I don't believe they fit on boosted boards. They'll fit on perhaps other boards such as Slick Revolution's own boards. The next thing they sent me was a pulley conversion kit for specifically the boosted board, which comes in this little box. And what's in the box are, I think, more spacers as well as pulleys that will allow you to install the Foamies onto your boosted board. These pulleys also allow you to install any ABEC core wheel to your boosted board. So Slick Revolution made sure to send me a bunch of different spacers because you will need a good amount of spacers in order to fit these 120mm wheels on your boosted board. So with that, let me talk about the installation process of installing these wheels onto your boosted board. For the most part, it was pretty straightforward. They included instructions in the box in order to tell you, how to do it, what you'll need to take out. So if you've ever changed wheels or if you ever changed wheels on a skateboard or an electric skateboard before, it's pretty straightforward. You're not gonna need to do anything with your existing wheels on your boosted board because if you buy everything that you'll need, then it should be smooth sailing. There are a couple things I do want to mention to you that I did have trouble with while installing the Foamies. One of the things is to make sure that the inner bearing of your rear wheel that you're installing is out. So when you put the pulley in, it goes all the way in. It's not stuck before the inner pulley. So make sure you take that out. Then you put the pulley in. You'll know when the pulley's in once it clicks in place. So the other thing I noticed is that you really want to tighten your belts as tight as possible because if it's too loose, the belts actually start skidding because there's a huge amount of space. Compared to a normal boosted board wheel, the radius of the gears are a lot wider. So it's gonna be pretty wide there. So if it's too loose and then you start braking or whatever, that belt's gonna start skipping. So make sure you tighten it as much as you can before going out for a ride or before you're braking too hard or anything. Lastly, I found that the belt cover was actually pretty optional. I didn't actually even attempt to install the belt cover because there wasn't a lot of space there in the first place. But the entire time I was riding this thing, I didn't have a belt cover on and I basically had no issues. Later on, I'll tell you sometimes things got in there, but it was completely fine. But that's sort of personal preference. You might want to try to install the belt cover, and I've heard other people that have used the Foamies did successfully install their belt covers fine. For me, I opted to just leave it out. It feels better that way because of how big the wheels are and the type of terrain I'll be riding over. So I've been riding these wheels for a couple weeks now, and honestly, it's really fun to ride. Just to preface, I do weigh around 120 pounds, so your results might be different from mine, but this is my experience with it and how I rode the board and how I dealt with it. So you might have seen my other review on my all-in Popkas, which are 90mm wheels that I installed on my boosted board. And with that, I was able to get like 25 miles per hour, a little bit loss of range, but of course a loss of torque. And that happens with this wheel as well. If you're increasing wheel size while keeping the same type of belt, you're going to lose torque, you're going to lose range, but you're going to gain a much faster top speed. So a stock boosted board, say my V2 was 80mm, and I'm going to 120mm. And that's a big jump. So of course I'm going to be losing a ton of torque, I'm going to be losing a ton of range, but that top speed is really crazy. So with that, in my experience, I did lose a significant amount of torque. It was a lot, and that caused me to really change the way I rode and brake a lot earlier and consider how fast it is I'm going to be accelerating. Over time, I did get used to it, but you'll definitely have to keep that in mind if you're getting these wheels. With range, I lost a ton of range. Boosted boards advertise a 14-mile range. With my all-in Popkas, the 90mm wheels, I got around 10, 11 miles. With these 120mm wheels, I would say I get around 8 to 9 miles on one charge with an extended battery on a boosted board, which is really just a little bit better than a standard range battery. So you're not gonna be able to go too far with these things, especially if you're someone on the heavier side. You're gonna lose a lot of range when you're running these wheels. Another thing about these large wheels is they are a lot heavier than, you know, your normal wheels. 120 millimeters, that's huge. That's a huge wheel. It will make your booster board heavier than it normally is, but since it's bigger, you can actually roll it a lot easier, like on the ground, like if you pick it up from the trucks and then you just roll it. Those big wheels are no problem with that. You sort of just roll it like a suitcase. So I don't really even pick up my board that often anymore. But that was basically all the major cons that I had with this board. The pros of the board makes the ride a lot more interesting than normal. My top speed with these wheels reached 33 miles per hour on a boosted board. That's really hard to imagine because, you know, other high-end boards are going this fast, whereas boosted board, you know, they usually are more mellow. You know, top speed of a boosted stealth is 24, and on my V2, top speed is 22 miles per hour on the stock wheels. So the fact that I was able to basically increase that up to 33 miles per hour, that's insane. That's like 30% more top speed than I originally had. In addition to such a high top speed, you have off-road capabilities. You might notice, of course, that these wheels are treaded. You can ride off-road no problem. I took my board to this trail in my nearby park, and I just went through that fine. For the most part, not completely fine. I hit some loose gravel. I didn't have enough grip on the loose gravel to be able to go, but for packed gravel and grass and stuff, I was able to roll through fine, like I was like an all-terrain board or something, on a boosted board, which is really impressive and really fun to do. I was riding with some friends on one wheels, and they were taking this trail, and I was keeping up for the most part on a boosted board, which is really crazy that you can do that. One warning I have with off-road riding on these things is that things can get stuck in your belts. So this is one reason why I actually ride without a motor cover, because I feel like with a motor cover, you're gonna have an increased chance of like grass or stuff getting stuck like in that motor cover, which might be a false assumption, but that's just me. I didn't really have any problems with no belt covers. Sometimes like grass would get stuck in that area, but it was really easy to just pull out. But even then, I'm very cautious when I'm like, even if I'm riding through grass and stuff, because I don't want stuff to get stuck in there and then like rip my belt for whatever reason. So just be careful if you're riding off-road with these wheels, but it is possible and it is gonna be really fun to do so. So overall, I think these wheels are super fun to use, and there are a lot of cons to it, like, you know, you're decreasing your torque, your range, but really with that like top speed and off-road capability, it makes the board a lot more fun to use in certain areas, such as like off-road or just like going fast. If you have a short commute and, you know, you want more comfort, which I forgot to mention, like it is very comfortable. Those 120 millimeter wheels, super comfortable, rolls over anything. You can basically treat these like all-terrain wheels because of how big they are and how smooth and comfortable they are. They just roll over everything. If your commute is short and you don't want to worry about like cracks on the road or just like bumpy roads, and you just want to get to work or wherever you need to go fast, this is perfect. Like, even though that loss of range is significant, if your work's not that far away, like it's a smooth ride to wherever you need to go, and you can go really fast. So you get to work faster and more smoother. The loss of torque isn't that big of an issue because, you know, you get used to it over time. The biggest issue, I think, is the decrease in range, because it's going to be a lot harder to bring these to like group rides and stuff when you're not getting at least like 10 miles or so. You'll start struggling with range at group rides because, you know, maybe the group rides are going past 8-9 miles, and maybe you're heavier than me, so you're going to see maybe like 6-7 miles. So you essentially have the same range as a standard range battery. So if you do bring this setup to a group ride, I would maybe recommend bringing an extra standard battery if you have. I know a lot of boosted board owners tend to have secondary batteries. That might be a good idea to bring with you. So at the end of the day, these wheels honestly aren't for everybody, like especially if you care about high torque, if you care about range. If you're someone on the heavier side, these will magnify the cons for you. But if you're someone like me, it's gonna be a lot of fun to use. Or even if, you know, if you are still on the heavier side, it is still gonna be really fun to use. You can ride these off-road, and they do go a lot faster than standard boosted board wheels. And even for me, like even with that loss of range, I don't mind because I have other boards that can go a bit farther than 8 to 9 miles. So I can ride those other boards if, you know, I want that range. So far for me, I've had a good time with these wheels. They get me to places very comfortably and very fast, and you know, that's really all I can ask for if I'm buying these giant wheels. So for as long as I keep these wheels on, it's basically gonna be my fastest board setup and my commuting board. And I think I would still be able to bring these 2 group rides because, you know, I have an extra battery that I can bring with me. So if you're wondering if you should get this board, just consider all the facts that I've mentioned in this video. It's really like personal preference, as it usually is with, you know, most of these reviews. You know, you gotta consider all the facts, like what you want in your setup, what you value more. That's really on you to decide. I've given you, you know, all the information about my experiences and what I would believe other people's experiences would be. So take that as you will, and hopefully, you know, you can make a decision on if you want these wheels. For the people who don't have boosted boards, I'll include this little short segment here. The wheels are very comfortable. They're treaded, again, so you can off-road on, you know, whatever board you want to install these on. And they're huge, you know, they're huge, they're comfortable. They have these foam inserts inside the wheel, which allows it to absorb bumps a lot better than, you know, traditional wheels. So that of course, in combination with how big the wheels already are, 120 millimeters, you're gonna have a good time, you know? It's a nice, comfortable ride, and that's just what you're looking for, comfort, then these are the wheels to go. They're huge though, so if, you know, you gotta make sure it fits in your setup, but you know, they are comfortable if that's the one thing you're wondering. So if you do want to buy these wheels, if you live in the UK or Europe, I believe they're around 130 pounds. If you live in the US, they're $160. Slick Revolution did give me some discount codes and stuff for the area that you live in, so check in the description below for those discount codes. That's really all I have to say about the Slick Revolution Foamies. They're a great set of wheels. Maybe not for everybody, but if it is for you, they're super fun to use. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Check out my channel for other electric skateboard related reviews and content. If you like this video, don't forget to leave a like. If you want to see more, subscribe. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.